Welcome back, everybody, to the Reliability Podcast Network and another episode of the World of Nutrition. With our own Marilyn Lamer out of Hawaii. I talk about all about nutrition for mind, body, soul. So I'm pass it over to Marilyn to kick us off. A couple great guests tonight. So welcome, Marilyn.
Thank you so much, Emily. I always appreciate you introducing us and getting us all together. So this is the World of Nutrition podcast. We want to welcome you. And this is about nutrition for your body, mind, and soul. Today I have two amazing guests. And the first one, her name is Cindy Miracle, and she is a holistic wellness advocate and essential oils educator. She is a founder of Abundant Living Naturally, and Cindy empowers individuals to nourish their body, mind, and spirit through the intentional use of authentic essential oils, vibrational tools, and wellness technology. With 20 years of experience in holistic health, she offers a heart-centered approach to natural living that integrates science, nature, and spirituality. As a founder of Abundant Living Naturally, Cindy guides others in using essential oils as nutritional support for emotional balance, mental clarity, and physical vitality. She complements this with leading-edge vibrational tools and frequency-based technologies that align the body's energetic systems for deeper healing and lasting transformation. Cindy's passion lies in helping others tap into their innate wisdom and embrace a lifestyle of abundance, purpose, and empowered self-care. Whether through educational workshops, one-on-one guidance, or community experiences, she equips others to reconnect with nature, raise their frequency, and thrive in every area of life. So, Cindy, I'm so grateful that you're here. Please tell us a little bit more about your passion and why you do what you do.
Wow. Well, thank you, Marilyn. I I love to feel good and I love to help others feel good, and we know that stress causes pain, whether it's physical pain or emotional, mental, spiritual pain. And really, I'm going to just start with a story. Um, my sister-in-law introduced me to essential oils about 20 years ago. She was such a healthy, holistic person. Like she just was my model and probably the healthiest person in my life and in my husband's family, my family. And yet, last month we buried her. She lost her battle with cancer, and um, it. She ate. Her nutrition was just impeccable, and she just didn't use chemicals. She was just such an amazing, aware person, and yet she was a worrier. She was the oldest sibling. She just cared so much about people, and it just weighted on her. And she had a lot of anxiety and just care and concern for the world, right? And so it was stressful. And I think really that was the killer. And it is a killer. I'm not a doctor. I'm an educator, as you mentioned, and yet we know that stress is so major. And so I've been really passionate over the last 2 decades of my life in finding ways to use essential oils to amplify the intention of our minds, um, and really like gratitude journaling and relaxation and just breath work. So essential oils have been really powerful in changing the way I walk through life. And so I like to help others in the same way. So I just felt really moved because this is so much on my heart right now to share that story.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm sorry that you had such a recent loss. And thank you
Yeah.
for being so open and vulnerable. I absolutely agree. And I think Callie will agree as well. The burdens that we put on ourselves. Callie was talking to me about the weight of the world today. And I was like, I'm feeling it. And so you're just talking about, I'm like, synergy is happening here. So it's
Yeah, it's
perfect
happening.
the both of you are here today. So, please tell us like not only or what oils do you use or how do you incorporate gratitude journaling? Is it in the morning or night or what kind of routines do you recommend?
Well, let me start with you asked what oils do I use? My family is a farming family. My husband's passion is farming. Our son, daughters, we live in rural Central Oregon, and so I'm really grateful that the essential oil company that I got introduced to first and foremost and forever is the farmer in the marketplace, Young Living Essential Oils. And so I worked with the founder, Gary Young, on some of our corporate-owned farms around the world and studied with him and really the um, almost every other company is a broker, and that's a perfectly legit way to run business. I love that we live in a world of freedom to choose and enter the marketplace the way we want. And so it's really powerful to be able to go and visit a farm and work, volunteer in the distillery and actually feel the energy and the attitude and the spirit of the workers and just know and feel the frequency of these essential oils. So I hope that answers your question. For me, I just really appreciate the mentality of from the ground up to have control over every single step of the complex science of creating essential oils from the seed to the bottle. And yeah, so when I say I work with authentic essential oils, these are oils that haven't been compromised. They haven't been manipulated to meet any kind of standard. They're organically dynamic and just kind of like vintage wines from the same vineyard, but from season to season, they're a little bit different. And that's really powerful. So coming from a medical background, specifically like microbiology and hematology, it's really powerful to understand that these oils work in the plants. They're part of the plants, they're the essence, the immune system of plants. And Gary, his vision was to bring those molecules out of the plants into the bottle that we can access with as little changes physically and possible so that we have viable, authentic molecules doing that really amazing work in our body, supporting us to live optimally and supporting us the way our bodies were designed. So it's kind of a broad brush stroke of what, what I'm all about. Um, let's see, what else did you ask?
Well, I just want to say I love that because, frequency energy, I am learning so much more about that and it's so powerful and all of that can be felt. So when you're using these oils, I can feel it. I have orange and vanilla right here, right on my desk, which I love.
Yes.
Yeah. And so just really thankful for these oils and I'm curious like how you pair that with a gratitude journal or if there's certain oils that you use with the gratitude journal or just everyday life.
Well, thank you. So one of the best ways to use essential oils is inhalation. And so I'll just give you a quick, some of the listeners may not know much about inhaling and breath work and essential oils. So these tiny molecules in one drop, you can drip a drop onto your hands and breathe it in. And so I'm going to tell you where the limbic part of our brain is. So if you have a plane that goes right down here and right through here, where those two planes intersect, right behind our eyes, is the limbic lobe of our brain. And that is the part of our brain that is directly wired by nerve endings to our olfactory or the sense of smell. And so we inhale those molecules and they stimulate little nerve endings in this little patch of epithelial tissue at the kind of way high in our nasal cavity. And so that goes directly to the limbic part of our brain, which is like the librarian, if you will, for our memories and our emotions. And so that if you want a direct and like very rapid state change, like if you're going from like, oh, life is so hard to how can I shift into gratitude? Inhale these high electromagnetic frequency molecules in one drop of oil. Um, and so, like Gary has formulated a blend called gratitude with the intention that the oils and the notes are all formulated to create this frequency of gratitude. And so, the way essential oils are made, the chemistry of them, they amplify intention. So when I'm getting ready to be still and write out gratitudes, I love to inhale essential oils that help me amplify that intention. And so it's kind of a real quick flyby. And so what you asked if I do my gratitude journaling in the morning or at night, it really depends. I like to do it in the morning because it just sets the stage and just changes my mindset for the whole day. So that's my preference when I can, you know. It's part of my morning routine.
That's so beautiful. And when I met you, we got to meet each other, which was wonderful over at the BNI Global Convention last year in Hawaii. And you had your bag open, I mean, your bag full of oils, and you're just educating, Diana and Rena and I about these different amazing, amazing oils. So I'm not able to remember the exact oil that you talked about. However, I'm just like, I feel like we're just all captivated. And like you said, like I could feel the love that you have for these oils and the genuine like wanting to share and teach. So, what is something that you like to share and teach about specific oils or specific things? Because you said that you're also, you have your medical background as well.
Well, the FDA doesn't let us say everything we want to say, right? And so, how about if I just tell you a little bit you asked about what oils I like to use. I'm going to talk about an oil that is made in the northern part of British Columbia, Canada, and it's called Northern Lights Black Spruce. And this oil is distilled from trees, chopped up trees that were grown mothered under that high electromagnetic energy of the aurora borealis, the northern lights. And so way north in this country, this wild country, I've been able to actually go and have a part in every step of the process from chopping down trees to loading them into the cooker and packing them down, packing all these chips of black spruce wood and needles, and then actually observing the distillation process and filtering and siphoning off the floral water and actually even bottling this oil into little bottles. And so this is the highest electromagnetic frequency oil that we know. And it makes sense because these trees, it's so intense from trees that are very much like almost daily under the aurora borealis. So that essential oil is kind of like the frankincense of the north. And so I love to apply it, inhale it. It's really supportive of elevating your spirit. It's like when you're having a rough time and you're going through a tough day, for example, one drop of that super high frequency oil, inhale it deeply 3 times, hold it at the top of the inhalation, and it just literally is a shift. Just you can feel it uplift. And so when I teach workshops and I pass this bottle of oil around and everybody's inhaling it, I always ask them first, take a note of your stress level or your attitude or your mood. Give it a number from 0 to 10. And then we'll work with these different oils, particularly that one, and then we'll come back in about 5 minutes, really quick. I'll say, now check in. How are you doing? Has anything shifted? And almost unanimously, everybody says, wow, I just feel so much lighter. I feel better. It just feels better. So that's one of the things that I like to teach. Yeah.
That's amazing. As you were just describing it in my mind, I'm just picturing the Northern Lights and being able to breathe that. And it's just like, wow, my mind just went on a journey with you as you're speaking. So that was very cool. I did not expect that experience. And now I'm super intrigued about what the Northern Lights smells like.
Well, it's black spruce, a
Oh, black
very,
spruce, yes.
yep, it's very intense. And that's why I'm wearing this scarf because it kind of reminds me of the colorful aurora borealis. So, yeah.
That's so awesome. I love it. And then please, I know that you have a special gift for the listeners. I what didn't want to take away from what you want to say. So please share with our listeners your special gift and how you want to connect with people.
Well, I'm just a person to person kind of educator and leader. And so I want to invite anybody to reach out to me, and you can literally text me. I don't know if you posted in the notes or in the chat, but I'm happily reached by Facebook. I'm on Facebook, Cindy Miracle on Facebook. Or you can actually reach out to me. I'll put my phone number out there because if you want to reach out and set up a one-to-one, just kind of a 30-minute conversation where we can talk about what's going on in your life and what are your health goals. And as an educator, I can suggest ways that you can maybe already have essential oils on your shelf, but they're sitting on your shelf and you're not confident in using them. Reach out to me and I'm happy to answer your questions. My science and medical background kind of takes the woo-woo out of essential oils. And so let me help you. Let me just give you a free consultation and conversation. So,
Love that. And please tell us how we can find you.
yep, on Facebook, Cindy Miracle, and that's spelled Maricle. And yeah, just send me a PM or you can reach out with my phone number, which is, are you ready to write? 541-280-9103. And I know that's really unconventional these days that I'm just giving you my cell number. This is my personal cell number. Give me a call. Let's sit down and let's chat together and find out what's really going on for you and how can essential oils make a difference.
Love that so much. Thank you so much, Cindy, for being on. And if you have any last words, please feel free to share.
Well, a lot of people are looking at surgeries or they may be looking at more medications or something like that. And I am actually, one last thing is I'm starting a new chapter of Kicking Cancer, which is a nonprofit started by a beautiful man named Baron Robison. And so in my area, we're going to start the third chapter, opening this chapter to bring awareness to our community and support people who are either looking into the journey for cancer and offering support and education and hope and powerful possibility. So you can look that up and learn all about kicking cancer. So it's kicking-cancer.org. So check us out. And yeah, thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
letting me share about that nonprofit. It is precious.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing because we don't know what we don't know. And, there's some people here in Hawaii that I would love to share that nonprofit with as well. So
Yeah, Baron's vision is to open 1,000 chapters. So I'd love to see one in Honolulu. So
thank you so much, Cindy. I appreciate
thank
your
you
heart.
for thank you so much for sharing this opportunity with me.
You're
You're a
so
beautiful human. All right.
Thank you. And I wanted to introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is Calleigh Piper. She's a holistic transformational practitioner with a diverse skill set that includes hypnotherapy, Reiki, life coaching, health coaching, soul coaching, and intuitive guidance. With a background as a registered nurse, she blends medical knowledge with spiritual and emotional healing. Calleigh specializes in helping individuals process emotions, work through their spiritual gifts, and overcome the 8 core wounds experienced in childhood to release blocks and trauma. She empowers others to discover their purpose and manifest the life they desire through personalized guidance and healing practices. Calleigh, welcome. We're so happy you're here.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing me to do this. You and everybody else that made this up. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here and share with everybody for sure.
Yeah, so please share with us more. Like, what do you do? How do you incorporate and mesh all your expertise into what you do?
Well, I came from Michigan, and in Michigan, I had a healing center for 7 years, the Gifted Healing Arts Center, along with a very talented other groups that came together with us. So when life prompted me forward to move to Hawaii, I knew that I wanted to bring something very similar to Hawaii, but do things a little differently than I had been doing them. And so for me, I'm always going to help people since I can remember, since I was a little child. All I've ever wanted to do is help people. That's why I became a nurse, and then I discovered when you go to nursing, you don't always help people. And so I'm like, well, let me find a better way to help people. So through many trials and tribulations, most of the time what gets people stuck is their mind. And so I could soul coach somebody. Our soul is perfection. Our soul, I don't know how much coaching our soul actually needs. It doesn't get lost. It knows the way. And even our spirit is where it should be. Our body kind of just follows suit for everything else. But our mind and our emotions are what really direct, and our emotions play off what happens in our mind. So for me, the final piece was really doing hypnotherapy and getting people out of those stuck mindsets. For those of you who don't know this as far, again, my company is Ostara Wellness LLC. You can find me just about anywhere. But for me, I noticed that our thoughts project and our emotions drop. So because of that, if you can change the thought pattern, instead of somebody's core beliefs, if they've been projecting, I don't have enough money, or I'm not worthy of love, which is a very common one that a lot of people project. If we can change that, if we can go into the mind and actually change that program and put in a program that works, then what they're projecting is going to draw what they want. So for me, my mission, all the tools that I have, all the things that I've done, my mission is to help people find their way home to themselves, their soul. Because if you're not sitting in your soul space, if you're not authentically creating and being who you are, the outside world is going to show that. You're going to draw inauthentic relationships. You're going to draw things that you don't want. And I mean, that is the way we draw lessons to get back to our soul self. But if we can help people, prompt them along to get there, then that's what I'm going to do. So for me, there's 8 core wounds that people incur as children. 50% or greater of our beliefs are formed before age 6. So, and most of the other ones are formed before we hit a teenager, with only a little teeny bit as an adult. So it stands to reason, whatever happens in our childhood, it's going to affect us for the rest of our life unless we change that programming. And there's many different ways to change programming. I'm not the be all end all, but I help people recognize, first of all, the programs that they're actually running. Because most people, they're subconscious programs, and they're not always, they just know the end result of the program. They don't actually recognize the program. They're like, I don't know, I keep attracting these same relationships that are awful. Why do I keep doing this? It's because somebody at some point led you to believe that you weren't lovable. And that's what you're projecting right now. Or somebody led you to believe that you should expect something, and when you don't, you get angry, because you expected something and it didn't happen, and you never release that emotion. So that's what happens when we work out of these 8 core wounded themes of consciousness. We project those out, and what we get back is emotions that we don't want. Now, emotions are always positive. Emotions are never wrong. They are communications saying where we're at, and they're communications to say, okay, you are here. Where we want to go is here. So they prompt our healing. So for people, but most people, what I find, at least people that start to come to see me, is they quash those emotions down. that they're like, I shouldn't feel this way. And I say, no, you should feel whatever way you feel, because that's a communication. So it's never wrong, but then listen to it. Why am I getting angry? Why am I getting sad? Why am I resentful? Why are all these things happening? And then we bring it to the light. We actually walk them through processing the emotion. Until that emotion's processed, it will stay stuck in your energy. And that's where a lot of people, where I find them is in a wound of overwhelm, or in a wound of anger, or something like that, where they have all this emotion quashed down, and all of a sudden, like, one thing that might not even be that big, happens, and it's just like a volcano. And all this emotion is like, I had a meme a long time ago that I posted, and I'm like, this is so accurate. And it was exactly that. It was like one small thing, and this person just blew. And I'm like, yep, that's exactly what happens. Things do not, if we do not process them, energy doesn't end. Energy it might change forms, but it always is. So if we create an emotion of anger and we don't do something to change that to something else, it's still stuck in our energy. And most people don't recognize that. So I teach people to be conscious creators, to process their emotion. A lot of times when we're processing emotion, when we start to get to our higher selves and we start to get closer to our soul space, a lot of our spiritual gifts will come out. That freaks a little people out. I know it freaked me out when I first started accessing mine, but I help them. They're like, I don't know what happened. This person was standing in my room that's dead. I don't know what to do with that. Or I heard this, or I see this, or I'm whatever. And I help them understand it's still just energy communicating with us. So I help them understand how to process that and how to use that then to help themselves and to help other people. That's why we access our spiritual gifts. So we learn and then we teach. That's the way the world works. Once we master it, then it's our turn to teach it to somebody else and help somebody else. And that's, if everybody did that, the world would be a much different place today. So I know that was a lot, but that's essentially what I do, is help people get rid of their garbage, bring in a nice cleaner room to manifest from, and then take that and go to help others.
I love that. I just recently heard from a mentor, we are best equipped to help the people we once were. And so that's exactly what you're saying, learn, heal, help others, teach each other. So I love that so much.
Yes. By healing, by help, we never heal, but by helping other people, we actually help ourselves heal. Because everybody is just a mirror of us. So some of them are past versions of us, some of them are future versions, but what we see in front of us, and most people won't recognize that, they just see separateness. This is somebody else, but they're not. They're actually us, in a different form, reflecting what it is we need to work on. Or maybe forgiveness is a big one. People will come as a past form of us and trigger us, and it's like, dude, you haven't forgiven yourself yet. That's why you keep seeing this person, or that's why this keeps triggering you, because you're still held on to that past version of yourself because you haven't forgiven yourself. So I just help people understand what the energy around them is trying to tell them, and also teach them to be a conscious creator. When you're a conscious creator, then you can make your outside world look however you want by changing your inside world. If you don't like what's out there, the first step is to look in. What is it teaching me? Why is this here? Okay, well, this is the lesson. Let's go ahead and integrate this lesson, and then your outside world will change. Easy as that. Well, I don't want to say easy, simple as that. Not easy, but simple.
So I'm curious, because there's people, including myself, it was like, it's not okay for me to express sadness. It's not okay for me to cry. It's not okay for me to express anger or yell or whatever it is, especially as a child, right? That's what we're teaching our kids. And I taught my kids the same thing. So I'm curious, like, how we can go about in a healthy way to help release those kind of emotions, or feel the emotions and then release or move through them.
We're going to do a teaching moment here. What I use is a very straightforward approach. It's a very analytical. I'm a registered nurse. We tend to be on the analytical side, even though it's a science and an art. I definitely am like, okay, well, I grew up with, evidence-based practice, and everything should equal 2 + 2 always equals 4 in nursing, and never equals anything else. So for me, I have a very simple approach. The first thing you want to do is identify the emotion itself. because a lot of people struggle with that. They just know that they feel crappy. They don't know why. So if you can identify the emotion, I feel angry, I feel sad, I feel whatever you're feeling. Now, I will tell you that a lot of people get stuck here because what actually happens to them is they're like, well, I don't really feel angry. I don't know. I just feel a lot of times if people can't identify the emotions because they're actually experiencing the fear behind the emotion. And so I'm like, okay, well, let's see what's actually triggering this. And we lead them back to that fear. But primarily you want to identify the emotion itself or the fear behind the emotion, because there's always a fear behind emotion. The next thing you want to do is ask yourself why it's there. What is behind that? And so again, if we are dealing with a fear, well, I have a fear that I might not have enough money. Because maybe I grew up where I didn't have enough money. And so now what I'm afraid of is I'm going to still create that same thing and not have enough money and therefore not have my primal needs met. And so once we address that and we go through, the next thing you want to do once you hit that is you want to check in with yourself. Is this fear or emotion based in reality? Because a lot of times if we're coming from a wounded theme of consciousness, it's not in reality. We're looking at it through a wounded theme of consciousness. So it's not reality. This person hates me. I'm like, does this person really hate you? This person just looked at you. They don't hate you. And so we lead them through that. If it is based in reality, then we find a satisfying response. I just dealt with a person the other day we were looking at wound of loss. And so when somebody loses somebody, for instance, when we have a death, it's the satisfying response to that would be, okay, well, we know that this person, we didn't really lose them. They changed forms. So a satisfying response would be to make sure that we're honoring their memory, that because we know we didn't lose them, they just changed form. So we know that we can still talk to those persons and they can absolutely hear us. I have talked to spirit before numerous times. We know that we have things of theirs around and we still have their energy around and we still have their memories. And then to realize that everything changes forms, that nothing is permanent, and that person is literally just a talk away, that all we have to do is call them in with our energy. So we find whatever satisfying response it is. And if somebody can't find a satisfying response, this happens a lot with anger, where people are like, you know what? I'm just angry at this person. And yes, I'm processing the emotion. And yes, I'm getting through it. But this person doesn't talk to me anymore. Or maybe the person actually passed, because I see this a lot in father-son dynamics, where the dynamic is not good between a father-son, especially. And it happens with daughters and mothers too, but I see it a lot with fathers and sons. And then the father passes. The son has his resentment, his anger. The father passes, and then shit hits the fan because now that person has gone out of their consciousness and they don't have any way to resolve it. And the brain will keep trying to solve the problem. What it deems a problem, it will just keep trying and trying and trying. So that's why it's so important that we find a satisfying response for that, or else it's just still stuck in our energy. So the satisfying response to something that you can't find a satisfying response for is always forgiveness, because that detaches the emotion and allows the brain to find a satisfying response and move on. And I want to specify, forgiveness is not about, oh, it's okay, it's fine what happened. That is not the way I define forgiveness, and that is not what I teach my clients. Forgiveness is simply detaching from the emotion that keeps triggering you. And I walk people through that because that's a very difficult thing for people. That's usually, if somebody is going to struggle with a program, that's the point where they start to struggle, is forgiveness of others and forgiveness of self, especially.
That's so true. And I'm
Yeah.
just letting people know, being transparent, like I go through forgiving myself and the thoughts that come up so many times throughout the day, because I'm like, that's not of my highest being. And I know it, and I'm forgiving myself. So it's
Yeah.
like forgiveness has been very, very huge for me within the past year.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, I'm so glad I met you and we're talking about forgiveness and, how we can forgive ourselves even, because a lot of times people forget about themselves and we're projecting. I'll say I used to project it on other people when it really is a mirror of me.
Yeah.
So myself, so I can.
It's everything to do with us. And so, I mean, forgiveness of self, I think why people struggle with that in particular is because you have to live with yourself 24/7. When you forgive somebody, maybe you see them every day, maybe you see them once a week, but they don't live in your head 24/7 if you've forgiven them. You live in your head 24/7. And people are not taught to question their thoughts. They're like, oh, well, I'm thinking it must be me. No, it's not. It's just programming. That's all it is a stimuli from programming, from a subconscious program. Something stimulated it in your outside environment, and now it triggers it. So I teach my people right away. I love that you brought that up. Like, I have to live with this, and my thoughts. And no, I call my thoughts out. It is literally listening to me sometime in the morning. I'm so glad I live by myself, because listening to me, they would swear that I have a whole band inside my place, because I'll be like, no, that doesn't sound like something. That doesn't sound like me. Oh, you're not good enough. No, I don't think I would say that. That's really not true. No, let's move you on, because no. And then I know maybe I have to work a little bit more at that, but I am absolutely, I got very good at calling my own thoughts out on bullshit because they're not us. Our thoughts are not us.
Yeah, it's just our reticular activating system that
Yep.
is protecting us from
Exactly.
whatever it is we think that we need to be protected from.
Yep. You're exactly right. So yeah, that's in a nutshell what I do. Like I said, I use different tools for different people. So for those people out there, I always offer a free consultation, because I want to make sure that my energy and your energy are good matches, that we both have realistic expectations of the goals you want to reach. And make sure that it's just a good fit. So I always offer a free consultation to people. Sometimes they're 15, sometimes they're 30. We make sure that we're going to have the right tools. Not everybody is a good candidate for all the tools that I use. So we figure out, some people are very analytical, some people are fly by the seat of their pants. So we take a looser approach, but I want to make sure that whatever we're doing, that we create a program that works for that person, where they can be absolutely successful. I always tell them, when you're done with my program, I don't ever want to see you again unless we're going to lunch. I don't. I want to know that you have all the tools and all the resources you need to move forward. I teach people nonviolent communication. I teach people how to process their emotions. I teach people to look for their wounding, to question their thoughts. Yeah, maybe they have a setback and they check in once in a while, but other than that, if we're not having lunch, you're good, man. Go take it and spread your word, spread your healing to everybody.
I love that so much. And it's just such a blessing that you came here to Hawaii and started just running here, networking, and we came across each other. I'm just so thankful. And now we see each other like every week. So it's wonderful.
I love it. I love the community that I've created in Hawaii. And I love the energy of Hawaii itself. It's very, very healing here. It doesn't mean everybody else has to move here. No, I'm kidding.
You're so funny. Well, I just really appreciate you and what you do and how you see people. Like, that's really like huge. And if you're looking for, or if somebody is looking to be seen,
Yes.
not just energetically seen, I'm saying, you know, you're so good at, meeting people where they are. Like, you're so good at meeting me where I was. And I'm just like grateful, so grateful. So,
Because I recognize the soul. You are me, I am you. And so I recognize the soul when I see people, and that's what I see. The first thing that comes forward is the soul of the person, not all the stuff they've piled on top of, but that soul. And I'm like, and then my guides show me the rest of the stuff that's standing in the way of soul. And I know where we have to get somebody, what we have to clear out of the way, so they can get back to soul, so they can recognize themselves again and who they are and their purpose. Purpose is a big thing. A lot of people want to know their purpose. So I definitely do that with people, help them recognize their purpose in this world.
that's right. As you were talking, so Calleigh helps people to find their soul purpose, which is like just beautiful, because there's so many people that are unhappy, especially if they're working a job that they don't like. They're just unhappy, and you're doing it for the wrong reason, right? So really tapping into your soul and finding your soul purpose, that's powerful.
It is. It is, because no matter what, I mean, we still have 3D stuff. People still have to make money. They still have bills, no matter what. But when you have your purpose and you start giving energy to that purpose, it's like a bullseye. you're like, okay, no matter what, I'm going to keep feeding this purpose. Even if I have to garden over here a little bit and pull some weeds, I'm still going to keep watering this flower and feeding this flower and loving this flower and talking to this flower. And this flower is going to grow. The more energy you give to that dream, the more energy you give to that purpose, you're going to see the weeds start to disintegrate, and you're going to see that tree just start to bloom because you're giving your energy to it. For me, I walked off my job as a nurse. I know it sounds a little irresponsible, but at the hindsight, it was the right thing to do. And I started a healing center because that's the guidance I was given. That's what I was supposed to do. In the middle of a divorce, no money. I was like, well, I guess this is what we're doing today. I'm sure it'll be fine. And it was fine. We ran it for 7 years. Everybody knew us in Michigan. So.
Yes, I always say if you're willing to do it for free, that is like you're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you know, for me, it felt good to my soul. I knew what I was doing was right. And I have to tell you, I did work part-time through some of it, but I also offered my services for donation there, and it always worked out exactly the way it should work out. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't charge for their services, because it's not the actual service, it's the time that somebody's invested, the time and the money that they've invested with product or education. So there's nothing wrong with charging, but at the same time, it has to feel good to your soul. I mean, I've gotten paid in a dozen eggs before, and I was thrilled because I love eggs. So that's what the person had to give, and the person needed help, and they were willing to work. So that's what we did. And that's the great thing about being being a boss. You can get to do whatever you want.
This is beautiful. Well, if you do you have anything coming up, any classes or retreats or anything that you want to share?
Yes and yes. Well, we will have in fact, I just talked to somebody about this yesterday. Planning, it's still in the preliminary stages, but planning a retreat, a 1-day retreat. It's going to be the secret language of feelings. All we're going to do all day is teach people how to process feelings. But it's going to be a fun feelings. It's not going to be probably some tears. I'm just going to put that out there. But that's going to be probably in later October, 1 day, and it will be on the island of Oahu. So for those people who aren't on Oahu, you be thinking. And I'm also going to offer an online class probably in June. I'm getting ready to put this one up for 7-path hypnosis group. So for people that aren't familiar with 7-path hypnosis, 7 and 5-path hypnosis are a holistic form of hypnosis that we do. I'm not going to go into the whole thing on hypnosis because we don't have time for that today. But basically what it is it's a self-hypnosis. So I hypnotize people and I give them certain phrases. And then they go and they do that 2 to 3 times a day to take down their programming that they have inside their mind. And it does work. It's absolutely what got me to Hawaii. I can tell you that right now. I wouldn't be teaching it if I didn't think it would work. In order to be more affordable, because not everybody can afford one-on-one sessions with me, I decided to make it a group venture so it would be a little bit more affordable. So I will put that up on my Facebook site, and my website is almost done too. So yeah, people will see that go out as an event and they can sign up. We'll get them their books, and yeah. So that's fun, huh?
Oh, beautiful. All right. So everybody knows what's coming up for you, how to get in touch with you. And I just wanted to thank the Mutual Aid Network. I almost forgot. I was like, the Mutual Aid Network, which is a nonprofit that Emily, Kurt, and I were a part of. And what is beautiful about Mutual Aid Network is everybody has skills. Everybody in this world has skills. Not everybody has the finances. So what Mutual Aid Network does is we help to trade our services and our skills from around the world. And what's fun is one of my skills that I started during the pandemic when we we're all stuck at home on Zoom is I started doing Zoom karaoke. So every, few months I'll do Zoom karaoke with Mutual Aid Network, and people from all around the world come and just sing their favorite songs, and singing and music just really uplifts the vibration and frequency. So it's been amazing with that. And so thank you to Mutual Aid Network and Emily and Kurt for helping to host the World of Nutrition podcast. And then I also wanted to give a shout out for Frequence. I'm an affiliate that I absolutely love. Frequency and nutrition being married together in one company. It's just been life-changing for me. And today I actually wanted to talk a little bit about the 11 harmonic frequencies. All of our organs actually respond to a certain frequency. So there's 11 harmonic frequencies on every single product that we have, and including this no wrinkle, anti-wrinkle straw. So you sip it like that, and all the liquid that comes through the straw gets tuned with 11 harmonic frequencies, and that liquid goes into our bodies and helps to tune our organs to be the right frequency. So I think it's fantastic. I actually have noticed, I have an extra one, my son and I have an extra one that we actually keep in our bed for, to just keep our frequencies aligned, especially my son, because he likes to have his device next to him. So it will help with the EMFs protection. So I'm just super thankful for this straw. And please reach out to me. My website is riseandvibe.me, and I'm happy to share more as well. So thank you so, so much, Cindy and Calleigh, for being here on the World of Nutrition podcast. And we will see you again at our next episode. Much mahalo. Aloha, everyone.
Oh,
Wow,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much. Calleigh, I related to so many things that you shared, so I hope we'll stay connected as well.
Same.
Seriously.
I wanted to tell